Bitch, you know I'm cooking. Wow. Bitch, you know I'm whipping. I'm whipping.
Gerry here, feeling the Filipino pride today. What we're going to do today is we are going to make a Filipino favorite called pork adobo. So let's come and look at the ingredients we're going to use. So we have some pork sirloin and roast. Okay, I decided to use this. You can also use pork shoulder or pork butt, but I decided to use the pork sirloin and roast. We have some garlic cloves, some ginger, fresh ginger. We have some salt, vegetable oil, soy sauce, and we have two kinds of vinegar. This is the white distilled vinegar. This is the apple cider vinegar. I haven't quite decided which one I want to use. Normally I use the apple cider, but we'll see. Depends on how I feel. So I'm going to go ahead and start to prep the meat. Okay, so I'm just washing the meat down a little bit. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the meat. This is the tedious part of making adobo. I probably should have had this cut already, but I decided spur of the moment to record. So basically what you want to do is just you want to make sure that the meat is cut, and we're going to cut them into chunks. So with the when I finish here with the end product, we'll show you again what the meat is going to look like. They're not going to come out in perfect chunks because this was a pork sirloin and there was a lot of bone in there. But I keep the bone. I'm going to cook it with the bone. It gives it more flavor. So now, as you can see, I'm taking apart a clove of garlic and taking a little skin off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mincing this garlic so that we have that ready to put into the pot. So we finally got all the garlic peeled. Now I'm just mincing it. So I use 2 cloves of garlic because I have a lot of pork, so I want to make sure that I get enough garlic flavor in there. Now, after the garlic, we're going to move on to ginger. My dad used to use ginger in his adobo, so that's why I use it in mine. It's personal preference. Another thing that I saw a lot of people do is, and my dad used to use this too, my dad used bay leaves. We're not going to use bay leaves. However, we are going to use a little bit of black pepper. A little bit of black pepper, because I don't like my adobo hot. So we're just going to slice the ginger. Okay, so now we have some ginger, some garlic. We have our meat. And now we're going to start to prep the pan. So we turn the fire up to medium, and we'll let the pan heat up a little bit. We're going to coat it with some cooking oil. So with our wooden spoon, we're just going to make sure the oil is spread around in here. Add a little bit more, actually. Just a little more. Okay. Alright, get this nice and warm. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the ginger and the garlic into the pan and start to sear this. So we're going to do that first. This is one thing I'm doing a little differently. Number one, what I'm doing differently is I'm using this pan. Basically it's a wok. Before I would use a stewing pot, and I always added the ginger and the garlic with the meat. So now, one of the things that I researched shows to saute the ginger and the garlic first. and then we're going to add the meat, so you can start to smell that a little bit. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start to add the meat. Now we have a lot of meat here. I've got 9 pounds of meat, so I'm just going to dump it in. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to brown this. It's a lot of meat. If you're wondering why it's so much meat, it's because I'm making it for 5 people. Now I do have a little bit of, I decided to use fresh garlic, but we do have a little bit of some minced garlic that I'm actually going to add just to give it a little more juice. Alright, so we're going to add some vinegar, and what I decided was I'm going to use white vinegar. So that's about a 3/4 cup of white vinegar, and then we're going to mix it with the apple cider, and I'll put in a 1/4 cup of that just to give it a little taste. So as you can see here, the meat is starting to brown a little bit. Okay, and what I want to do is, as I said earlier, to continue to mix it, I actually added a couple more things of garlic. I didn't mince it though, I just put it in to give it a whole garlic kind of flavor. So you can see one right there falling in. There's a big piece of garlic right there. I want to kind of get the pieces that aren't browned and mix those around. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to pour the vinegar in. Make sure it kind of touches everything. There you go. And I'm going to use, so I used a cup of vinegar. I'm going to use a cup of soy sauce because I'm going to put the soy sauce in.
Oh.
This is black pepper, and because, like I told you, I'm not a big black pepper guy. Okay, it's just a few sprinkles. I'm just going to actually put it in my hand, and I'm just going to lightly just go like this over the top. Whatever it hits, it's going to hit. Right, so it's been 10 minutes. I covered it. I set the fire to medium. We're going to uncover it now. I haven't stirred it. I haven't touched it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to slowly spoon the meat into our stew pot and transfer this over. Okay, so we have successfully transferred all the meat, all the adobo, into this stew pot. As you can see where the level of the juice is, or what we say in Tagalog, the sabaw. There you go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to continue to let this simmer in its own juices. Now, it's a nice medium fire, and I am going to cover this. Okay, and one thing that I did different with this is I have added no water. What I may do though, right now, just to give it a little more flavor here, is I'm going to add just another 1/3 cup of soy sauce, a little more vinegar, just a little bit. Okay, pour that on top, give it a little more kick, and I'm going to take just a little salt, not a lot, because it already has a lot of salt in the soy sauce. But, yeah, just kind of sprinkle that around. There we go. And I'm going to cover this guy. And we're just going to cover it for about 20 minutes. So, it is approximately an hour later. And what I did was I actually took the meat out about a half hour ago. I put it back into the wok, and I fried what I could, or I let it simmer in there with a little bit of cooking oil for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I dumped it back into the pot. And I've had it on this low fire for the entire time. Okay, so here we go. I've got my bowl of adobo with some white rice. Let's give this a taste. Pretty good. I think I finally got it. And I know I could perfect the cooking technique even more now that I kind of have an idea of what I want to do. So I kind of took a chance this time around using so much meat, but I was able to, it looks like I was able to marinate it properly and get it cooked the right way. So great. So there you go. Pork adobo. A lot of the other videos online look like they cook it in less time. Like I said, this was about 2 hours. So, you know, and 2 hours with the prep is about 2.5. Because like I said, I had to cut all that meat. I didn't get it pre-cut. I had to mince the garlic and all that stuff. So, well worth it. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something and got something from it. And enjoy.